I grew up in Cincinnati, Ohio, to what you would call probably a normal family, upper middle class. Both my parents were chemical engineers for a big corporation, and they always taught me that success in life was all about moving up. It was always about making money and just being successful. That's what it was all about in my life. And even though I sort of looked at them, and people would ask me, they'd be like, "What's it like to have such successful parents?" And I was kind of like, "That's success?" Because when I watched my parents and their careers, they worked 60 hours a week. And they had to sacrifice everything to move up in their careers. They had to sacrifice their health. They're working 60 hours a week. They're not going to the gym. They never saw each other. They're always traveling. And worst of all, they never saw the kids. I have two brothers and a sister, and I never saw my parents. They had to hire somebody to raise us. But they told me that was success. So there was always a lot of pressure on me to follow in their footsteps. And even though internally I didn't want to, you know how it is growing up. You're always pushed in that direction. So in all reality, I went to the same school they went to. I studied the same thing they studied, mechanical engineering. And I was actually going to work for the same big corporation that they worked for. And I would have done that probably without question unless something had happened in my life when I was in college. When I was a freshman in college, I actually got a frantic, terrifying phone call from my mother about my father, and it turned out he was rushed to the hospital in cardiac arrest from alcoholism. It turns out my father was an alcoholic for 10 years and hid it from my family. And it wasn't until my mother got fired from her job that he couldn't conceal it anymore. And that sent me into this shock in my life. I didn't know what I wanted to do because I was doing the exact same thing they did. What kind of results am I going to get? The exact same results, right? So I was really scared. I didn't know what I wanted to do, and I was just praying for something. I was just praying for anything different, please give me something, and I will be open-minded, I promise. And about 3 months later, I went to a party, and I was sitting in the corner, and I was super negative and super angry, and this girl actually spilled beer on me. And at first I was really angry, but then she asked for my number, and that was okay, right? So she actually called me the next day, and she's like, "Hey, you want to come learn about this business?" I'm like, "Sure, what do you know about business?" And she's like, "You have to come to Starbucks." And I was like, "I don't want to work for Starbucks." Anyway, I went there, and I was super skeptical, and I was negative. I didn't even know why I was there, but it ended up being a moment. It ended up being a day that changed my life forever. And it was that day that I was introduced to Your Health. And I'd never heard of business before. I'd never heard of network marketing before. I'd never heard of any of these things before. But what I saw a business, and I saw a project, and I saw a philosophy that I believe could change the world. I saw something where we could create together freedom for ourselves, for our families, for our kids, for future generations. We can educate people about a new way of living life where you don't have to sacrifice your family, your husbands, your wives, and your kids for happiness. And that's why I joined, and that's why I worked hard. And even though it wasn't natural for me, even though I was an engineer, I still pursued it. And it changed my entire life to a point where now today, because of my involvement with this company, I know that when I do get married, I know that when I do have kids, I'll be able to raise my kids. Facebook's not going to raise my kids. I know that I'm going to be able to invest time into my wife. And one of the most beautiful things I have today is that as my parents have gotten older, my father's 74 today, I can invest time with them now that they could never invest into me. I can go to lunch with them in the middle of the afternoon because of this company. So I am so thankful for my involvement with this company. I'm so thankful for Dennis Wong. I'm so thankful for Michael Moe, because if it wasn't for them, my life would be totally different. And I love Your Health. Thank you so much.